So for more reaction, we now welcome Jason Brodsky, Policy Director of United Against Nuclear Iran, and he joins us from Washington, D.C. Jason, thank you so much for your time. So much of the security concerns in this region over Iran revolve around the possible revival of the nuclear deal and threats from Iranian proxies here in the Middle East. Now this news that Iran could be supplying drones to Russia and offering training too. Your reaction, your thoughts?
It's great to be with you. Yes, I think it's a wake-up call for the international community that Iran is not just a nuclear file, and its drone and missile proliferation are a global threat. And I think it's a message to our European allies that it's time to hold Iran accountable for the full scope of its malign behavior. Europe has only imposed sanctions twice on Iran since 2013, and there is much more that they can be doing, especially with these drones that are now in their backyard.
And when you hear that Kiev claims to have downed about 600 Russian drones since the invasion started, if Iran is indeed supplying these drones to Russia, your take, what does it say about Russia's capabilities on the ground at the moment?
Well, I think it reflects Russian losses on the ground, and they're using Iran as a backstop to help bolster their efforts. And that's why Russia and Iran's partnership has grown in recent years. So I would expect these trends to continue. There have been reports in April that Iran was also sending other kinds of arms to Russia through its proxies in Iraq as well. So this is a trend line that's definitely important to watch.
And to that point, what do you make of Vladimir Putin meeting Ibrahim Raisi, the hardline Iranian president, and Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Tehran next week, apparently to promote reconciliation in Syria? But how worrying is this meeting of minds, so to speak, right now?
Well, I think it reflects the increasing warmth in the relationship between Iran and Russia. Let's understand that Ibrahim Raisi, since he's been in office for close to a year, has met with Iran's president 3 times alone. And that is very important because when you contrast it to the Rouhani administration, Vladimir Putin only traveled to Iran in 2015, which was 2 years after Rouhani took office. And in Raisi's first year alone, there have been 3 such engagements. So that contrast is striking and telling for the international community.
And obviously major headlines about President Joe Biden heading to the Middle East. He lands here in Tel Aviv Wednesday afternoon local time. Talk to us about Iran watching the U.S. president here in Israel. He goes to the West Bank as well, and then he heads off to Saudi Arabia for this Gulf Cooperation Council summit, plus Egypt, Iraq and Jordan. What does this all mean for Iran? Briefly, please.
It's an absolutely critical trip. I'm glad the president is going there. We are seeing the emergence of a partnership between the GCC countries and Israel as it relates to the Iranian threat. And I would not be surprised if Iran does something provocative to demonstrate its own leverage in the region, as it did before former President Trump, his first trip to the Middle East in 2017, when they launched a missile, when the Houthis launched a missile at Riyadh hours before he was scheduled to arrive. So Iran will be watching very closely.
We certainly will all be watching. Thank you so much for your insight. Jason Brodsky, live from Washington, D.C. Be well. Thank you.